Hi guys, this is DJ Slope from Slope's Game Room, and you're about to watch Disney's 31st animated classic review, which is Aladdin.
It's time to make our way to Agrabah. First released on November 25th, 1992. And who better to tell you the story of Aladdin and her own personal review other than Morgan Stradling from the Rotoscopers.
Hi, I'm Morgan with the Rotoscopers, and I'm here to talk about my favorite animated film of all time, Aladdin.
Right.
So Aladdin, to me, is a masterpiece. It tells the story of a young boy named Aladdin. He lives in the streets of this Middle Eastern country called Agrabah. He's a street rat, he's poor, he doesn't have anything. He only has one friend, and that's his monkey, Abu. But one day he meets a girl on the streets and he helps her out because she clearly doesn't know what she's doing. Turns out that she is the princess of Agrabah, Princess Jasmine. They form sort of this connection because even though they're from two different worlds, they're able to relate to each other. But that is torn apart because she gets taken back to the palace when she's discovered, and he, because he kidnapped the princess, goes to jail. In jail, he meets another prisoner who tells him of this cave of riches, the cave of wonders, and if you go there, you'll have everything your heart desires. You'll have money beyond worth. You'll be a king if you can go there. The old guy, who happens to be the Grand Vizier, Jafar in disguise, tells him, I can't do it, I need you to go for me. So they're able to escape out of the palace, and Aladdin goes down into the Cave of Wonders to find this magic lamp to give to Jafar. But along the way, the cave actually shuts in, and Aladdin is stuck alone with just the lamp. He rubs the lamp on accident, and poof! The genie appears. The genie is voiced by Robin Williams. It's probably one of his most iconic roles ever, and he is hilarious. So Aladdin tricks the genie to get out of the cave and uses his first wish to turn him into a prince because he wants to go back and meet Princess Jasmine and say, hey, now that I'm a prince, will you marry me? Not really, but sort of. So Aladdin goes through all this pomp and circumstance. He has a big parade to usher him into Agrabah. He meets the Sultan, and of course he meets Jafar, who doesn't actually know that he's the street rat who took the lamp from him. Then he meets Princess Jasmine, and it does not work out. She thinks that he is pompous, arrogant, a peacock. So he has to try to mend the relationship. He flies up on his magic carpet, which was another gift from the Cave of Wonders, and he tries to woo her over. They go on a magic carpet ride, which is the most iconic part of this whole movie, and after that, she sort of falls for him. So right when they're about to get together and announce their marriage, they are torn apart because Jafar has taken the lamp, and now he's using his own wishes to make him Sultan, and then very quickly he realizes, Sultan's not enough, I need to be the most powerful sorcerer in the world, so then it's up to Aladdin to save the day. Aladdin, at this point, realizes he can't use the power of the genie to save him, he can't use anything else, it's only me. So Aladdin, being very cunning and smart, he's able to trick Jafar into using his third and final wish to turn himself into a genie, which means that he has to live in a little lamp. Boom! Bad guy defeated. So at the very end, Aladdin and Jasmine are allowed to be together because the Sultan realizes, you know what, I know Jasmine, I told you you had to marry someone of royal birth, a prince, but you know what, it just matters what's in someone's heart, so yay! And one of the most important parts is the genie finally is able to be free. Like I said, I love this movie. It is my favorite movie of all time. I literally have seen this movie over 500 times because when I was in high school, I used to fall asleep to this movie. So I would watch about 10 to 15 minutes, I'd fall asleep, the next day I'd rewind it back to the part that I could remember, and I continue to watch the movie. I did this basically every night through high school and college. What I love about it is every single one of these characters are so appealing, from Aladdin to Jasmine to Jafar to the Sultan and Abu. Oh, and can we forget the genie? Everybody, whether they are a good guy or a bad guy, are really appealing. There's something about them that you're interested in. I like everybody, even though I know that Jafar, I'm not supposed to root for him, I still think he's an incredible character. This was animated by many Disney animation legends, like Glenn Keane did Aladdin, Andreas Deja did Jafar. So many amazing, talented animators were working on this film, and it shows in the animation. And can we talk about the songs? I love every single song in this movie, from the very beginning, Arabian Nights, to the grand epic, I Can Show You the World. They're so good. Are you getting goosebumps? I'm getting goosebumps. Look at this. I love the story that Aladdin tells. I think the pacing is wonderful. I think the characters are wonderful. I think the songs are wonderful. It's just so, so good. So that is why Aladdin is my favorite animated film of all time. And now, let's talk about the games.
thanks, Morgan. If you're into anything Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Don Bluth and everything in between, then I highly suggest you check out both the rotoscopers.com and also the amazing Animation Addicts podcast with the rotoscopers. But warning, once you've listened to one, they get pretty addictive and you'll probably want to listen to them all. Anyway, on with the show. Aladdin the video games. Oh yes, I've been looking forward to this one since the start, as I'm sure you guys have as well. So let's get right to it. Here we have 3 pretty damn different games, all with the same name for 3 different systems, and they all play quite differently. Firstly, we have Aladdin made by Capcom, then Aladdin made by Virgin, and finally Aladdin made by Sims. So what'll it be, master? Well, let's start with my personal favourite out of the 3, Aladdin for the Mega Drive, made by Virgin. Oh yes, this is gonna be good. The Genie starts up the game with the great typical Genie humour and a nice 16-bit rendition slowly bringing in the title screen. And with that sudden jump, it's time to skip the story and tutorial and start the game. Straight away, the first thing you'll probably notice is just how smooth and well animated Aladdin looks. Well, it's no surprise really when you look at the fact that David Perry was in fact the lead designer for the game. You know, David Perry of Global Gladiators, Earthworm Jim and Cool Spot fame. And it doesn't stop there. They actually got original Disney artists in to animate the majority of the game. So if you're like me and you want everything that Disney Animated Studios worked on, your collection will not be complete without this game. The first level finds our hero running through the streets of Agrabah, dodging all manner of bad guys and projectiles. Once you've made your way past the guards and traverse your way through the marketplace, you may have noticed that you can pick up this special Abu-shaped item. And if you do grab it, you get this one-time chance mini-game type level where you must dodge yet again more falling pots. Next up is the desert level. Don't forget to pick up the extra life. This is probably the coolest way to grab a hidden life. After this we go back to the streets, but this time we traverse the rooftops. Then it's in the dungeon where Aladdin must escape from exploding skeletons. Just like in the movie? Once out of the dungeon, as you know, Aladdin gets tricked into going to the Cave of Wonders. Dodging Indiana Jones style boulders and bats until we finally get to the lamp. We all know what happens next, the magic carpet scene. In the movie it was mind blowing, and the game is no exception. With your new friend the magic carpet, you need to zoom out of the cave, scrolling up and down with the guiding help of Genie's hand. This is probably the most iconic part of the game that people remember. It's such an incredible change of pace from the normal gameplay that you're used to up to this point, with just the right blend of skill and luck to keep you going until you either get to the end or you run out of Aladdin heads. After this level, it's back to the classic platforming as we go inside the Genie's lamp for a cool Genie themed level. Then it's in the Sultan's Palace, and finally Jafar's Palace, where you go up against, you guessed it, Jafar. Unfortunately, Jafar isn't exactly the most enjoyable final boss in video game history, and it is a little bit of a letdown after what is a brilliant lead up to this point. Either way, you kill Jafar, rescue the princess, and listen to the 16-bit rendition of A Whole New World. Like I said, this game really is incredible.
And the sales speak for themselves. Aladdin on the Mega Drive sold over 4 million copies. I suppose this helped.
In fact, whenever I see the brilliant movie, I feel the urge to play this game, and vice versa. Few games do that to me. Now unfortunately, with this game being the masterpiece that it is, it left the SNES version in second place. However, as much as everyone goes on about this game and how it isn't as good as this one, you really shouldn't ignore it. The Aladdin game made by Capcom on the SNES, although not as good as the Genesis version, is still a really, really good game. In fact, I would go as far as saying it's one of the system's best third-party games I've played. Whatever you do though, just don't go for the horrific Game Boy Advance port. Here we have the usual cutscenes to tell us the story. Just look at this. Even though I'm a Sega guy, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the early 16-bit cutscenes in the SNES version look so much better than the Mega Drive versions. So here we are. The game sees you start off in the marketplace and captures Aladdin's gymnastic ability brilliantly. And it's got to be said, I absolutely love how Abu is always following you behind. Anyway, after a few quite short levels in the marketplace, we see Aladdin save young Jasmine's hand just like in the movie. Aladdin is then in a dark cave before falling down a huge drop, seeing loads of treasure. I love platforming stages like this. Anyway, as you know, Abu almost ruins the day, grabs the gem, and the Cave of Wonders turns into a mess. As you now control your hero through fire and lava. After this we have the epic magic carpet section of the game, which is seriously hard the first few times you try it, although it is quite short. Dodging falling boulders and making sure you keep to the front of the screen so you can dodge the lava waves coming from behind you. As expected, this section of the game is such a great change from the traditional platforming style gameplay, just like the Mega Drive version. Now let's go to the magic lamp for a few short, creepy levels. Next up is the weird sand level, which reminds me of Sandopolis Zone from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It's a bit forgetful. And here we are in the Overrun Palace. You really need to put your platforming skills to the test here. Jumping off projectiles as well as harder palace guards. This is a great level for showing off just how good you are at the game. And as the level progresses, so does the atmosphere with suspenseful music and flames. The final fight between Aladdin and Jafar. 3 words. This is hard. Just like all good Capcom games, you need to practice this one loads before eventually being powerful enough to defeat the evil Jafar and save Agrabah. The fight goes on for quite a while, and you even get to see Jafar in his snake form. This truly is the boss to end all bosses. However, defeat him and you all know what happens next. Now, like I said, it's a shame that the SNES version is so overlooked these days because of the Mega Drive version, and it really shouldn't. Both are utterly fantastic games and some of the very best 16-bit platformers for their systems. So continuing our road down the slippery slope, we have Aladdin by Sims. Okay, stop the press. This game is a Master System game and a Game Gear game. How good does this look? And not only does it look good, but it plays brilliantly too. So you can see it plays sort of like an endless runner. It's quite a nice change from the other 2 games. The only real downside of the game is it's a really small amount of gameplay before you get to loads and loads of Master System cutscenes. But with that said, let's just give a hand to the incredible graphics one more time. We then get to see Aladdin play just like the other games in some great platforming stages. Here's another magic carpet level, still great and plays quite differently than the other 2. Here we are in the Sultan's Palace. Props to the game designers for actually changing the sprite of Aladdin. What's cool about this game is that it actually has a stage which is possibly the most popular section of the whole movie, the magic carpet ride with Jasmine. Careful, first impressions count, so make sure you eat loads of apples and don't hit the birds. Next up we have another chase scene with Jafar. It's actually a little bit of a disappointing final boss, as it's quite easy, but still, not too bad. Oh no, hang on, it's not the final boss. Don't you love it when games do this? Here we are going up against the real final boss. What ends is a great ending cutscene, making the whole game worthwhile. So far, that's 3 out of 3 games based on the same movie, and all brilliant in their own way. Now, just like most of the other games on this list, you've obviously got your DVD extra games, the Tiger game, and his quite big appearance in the Kingdom Hearts games. But as standalone games, this is pretty much it. There is, however, a PlayStation game called Disney's Aladdin in the Sara's Revenge. But, however, this game is actually a sequel, not to Aladdin, but instead it follows the events of Return of Jafar, but is set before the TV show and the King of Thieves. Wow! So if you're a big fan of everything Aladdin, you better get this game in as part of your crazy Aladdin timeline. But for me, you can't do better than the classic Aladdin trilogy of games that came out about the same time as the fantastic movie.
Major luck.
Hey guys, thanks for watching my review. If you like what you saw, please rate, comment, favourite and subscribe, and click either of the links above to see my last video or the next one. But before doing that, click right in the middle of the screen and go and check out the fantastic rotoscopers. And hopefully, I'll see you all next time.